Okay, I just finished making the final touches for the 3D model of the tower that I'm creating for this game I'm developing to teach German. I spent a lot of time on it, partly because I've had a large learning curve. A lot of the stuff that I've done in Blender here has required me to go out and find stuff on the internet, and I don't have any art experience or 3D modeling experience. I had to teach myself basically from the ground up. So I've learned a lot, and there's probably a lot of mistakes. Doesn't look as good as it could, but I'm rightly proud of it. So let me just show you exactly kind of what it takes to make a 3D model like this, a 3D resource for a game. Now I'm going to go into full screen mode here for a second, and we'll see that a model, the specific one I have developed here, is actually composed of different components or objects. We have the, I'll zoom in, we have the external arches right here. We have the left, and we also have the right road sign, warning signs, don't drive your car into the tower. We have the archway itself, the inner passageway. We have the main body of the tower. We have the hoist system, which I added just yesterday, in fact. And we have the upper body of the tower, which is composed of windows and the clock face. We have the steeple. We have the base of the bell tower proper, and the roof on the bell tower. Now, all of these components I've put together, sort of like building a model, actually, and this creates a complete 3D resource that I can drop into the game. Now, the other things you see right here are actually used to, when I make a render, when I make a picture of this. We have the spotlight, and actually I was going to go to the top view for a second. We can see this a little bit better. I'm going to go to flat view right here. We have the spotlight. We have a sun to illuminate the tower from behind to give it a little more depth. We have one camera here that I've been using to kind of spot things as I've developed, and then we have the main camera here, which I'll be using. Now we'll zoom in right here, and we see we have an object right there. This is essentially an empty, invisible object. I've created this object and put it at the very center of the tower because this is going to be the parent object, which, as you can see through this long line that goes to the camera right there, it's a parent object to a child object. So what I'm going to do is I've made this invisible object, put it in the center, and I'm going to rotate it. And as I rotate it, the camera is going to follow the rotation. I'm going to get a really nice 360-degree animated turnaround or animated render of this tower. So let me go back into regular mode of looking at. I can't remember, there's a special term for it, orthographic or something like that, and then the other one is anyway, perspective mode. So I'm back in perspective mode, and now this tower is composed of different objects. Now let me get out of full screen mode and go back into regular. I'm going to highlight the main tower component, the body of the tower. Right now I'm in object mode. We see right here. I'm going to go into edit mode, and we see that this object, this tower body, is actually composed of numerous little points or vertices in 3D space. Now, when we run a game, the computer every, I don't know, like, was it 30, 60 times a second, depending on the frames per second that you have set up, is going to calculate exactly where these points are in 3D space and render the tower according to the position of the player or the camera in the game. Now, this means that if you have a lot and lots of these little vertices, it's going to be a resource hog for your graphic processing unit or your CPU. So what we want to do is we want to try to keep these game objects as well, keep them as simple as possible in terms of vertices count, but at the same time trying to create something that looks halfway decent. So what we do now is, as I go into, I'll pull the render preview up just for a second, is I have a 3D object in the left hand side of the screen right here. On the right hand side I have essentially a 2D object or a 2D image. How do I take a 2D image and apply it to a 3D object? Well, what we do is we simply unwrap the 3D object and we take this, and then we can see if we, there we go, we have all of these, essentially the same points are mapped onto a 2D image, and we take them and apply them to a 3D object. So essentially what we get is something that looks like this as we go into a quick preview mode. So I just finished this. I kind of wanted to take a few moments to explain how this object is put together. And then what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take and do a quick turnaround so we can see how this object looks from all sides.